friends. All right. Hello. I'm making sure we're in all the places on Facebook and Instagram. Hello. Happy Thursday, right? Good to see you guys. So I wanted to jump on real quick and talk specifically about how to make investment decisions in your business specifically. And here's why I'm talking to you about this. Personally, I actually this morning have been considering an investment in my own business for a program that is specifically built for entrepreneurs. And as I've been considering that, I'm thinking, some of the questions I'm asking myself this morning are probably questions that the people I'm talking with, the horse business owners and equestrian entrepreneurs like yourself that I have been talking with over these past few weeks about Take the Reins, my one-on-one coaching program. The questions I'm asking myself are probably the questions that you either are asking or you should be asking as you are considering making investments in your own equestrian business, okay? So that's what I want to talk about this morning or this afternoon, depending on where you are and when you're listening, okay? Because I think that it is so important that we make wise decisions. I want you all, as you're considering investments in your own business, to make a wise decision. And I know that sometimes it can be hard. How do you decide if this is the program for you? Sometimes it's quite an investment, right? Financially, mentally, emotionally. There are online courses, there are in-person retreats, there are one-to-one coaching opportunities. All of these things are investments in yourself and investments in your business. But that doesn't mean it's an easy decision, right? And sometimes, like I said, they are pretty large investments. I absolutely get that. My coaching program, Take the Reins, it is truly an investment. If you go to apply, you will see that echoed on the application page because I want you to walk into it knowing that you are prepared to invest in yourself and invest in your business. And the program that I'm evaluating right now is an investment as well. And so I want to share these questions with you because as I am considering for myself this program, so not even my own, right? These are the questions I'm asking myself that I want you to be asking as well. And it's going to help you to have clarity to know, should you apply for Take the Reins, but also should you buy that online course that you've been deciding, you've been considering? Should you go to that in-person retreat? Should you invest in that? How do you make these decisions? Now, before we jump into that, I want to take a little bit of a side juncture, I guess, to talk about something that's super important as you jump into those things, okay? And that is our initial reaction, our initial response. Now, let me explain. I got this email, literally, I think it came in yesterday, but I read it this morning from John Acuff. And as I was considering my own program or considering the program I'm thinking about investing in for my business, right? As I'm looking at that, I'm reading John's email and he's talking about how every reaction that we have is an education. I promise this is not out of nowhere. This applies to your decision to invest in your business, okay? So just stick with me. Every reaction is an education. Okay, here's what that means. Your thoughts, your initial, that first reaction when you hear of something, it is educating you about what you really believe about your life and yourself. Even if it's a response you have to somebody else, it's actually an education about yourself. Okay, now he was talking in particular, to give you some context, about a guy that had shared, I think 15 years ago at a conference that he was at, a guy that had shared he took the whole month of July off from work. And John's response was, that must be nice, right? Kind of sounds negative, but many of us have probably had that response. And so what he is sharing now, 15 years later, is that actually he changed his mindset and he embraced that idea. And instead of thinking, well, that must be nice, he decided to think, I'm going to do that too. And instead, he started to really change his mindset around that. And then he was actually able to accomplish that goal. Okay, so here's why I'm telling you this. Because when you hear about marketing and coaching, when you hear about business, or when you see some other people living the dream that maybe you had pictured, you thought you were working towards, you thought you were going to be there by now, then your thought is, that must be nice, right? You're thinking, oh, a custom saddle? That must be nice. Weekly lessons. That must be nice. Look at that amazing horse. That must be nice, right? All of these things where we start to have, frankly, a negative connotation instead of, number one, celebrating that person and that individual and that team and that business. But number two, as I said, it's really not about them. It's about you as a business owner. It's about me. It's about the things that we're telling ourselves about what is possible. So perhaps you have seen an online program and you saw the price of that. Perhaps you heard of one-on-one coaching and you thought, well, that must be nice, right? What if instead you change that thinking to, I'm going to do that. I am going to enjoy a personalized coaching experience because I know it's going to up-level my business. I am going to make that decision for my business. What's one thing to do? What's one thing today that I can do to get closer to that, right? Think about how that is a really positive way of thinking about things versus thinking, well, that must be nice. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. As you hear about coaching, as you hear about online education, in-person retreats, all these things that are an investment in your business, instead of thinking it's impossible, instead of thinking, well, that must be nice, that's just for some people, instead, I want you to think, is this possible for me and my business? Is this what I need to help me meet my horse business goals? Oh, there we go. All right. Okay, so here's what I want you to remember from that, okay? Because here's what's true. It's not just impossible, it's actually possible. And not only that, it's a necessity because investing in your equestrian business is not just a luxury. It is a necessity. To meet your goals in your business, to have a sustainable equestrian business, you're going to need to invest in yourself and in your business. All right. High-level riders, Olympic athletes, they all understand that in order to continue, they need to invest in themselves. They invest in their horses. They invest in their team. They cannot just sit back and expect success. And the same is true for you. All right. So as we dive into these questions that I want you to consider about deciding where and how to invest in your business, I just want you to remember it is not something that just must be nice. It's a necessity and it's attainable for you if you choose to make those decisions. All right. Okay, let's jump in. Okay, 5 questions for you to ask yourself before you invest in coaching, courses, or retreats. All right. Question number 1, what season am I in? Or what season will I be in during this program? Because I know sometimes you may sign up for a program and it doesn't start for a few months. So consider the season you'll be in at that time, okay? Now, your season does not have to be perfect, okay? The question here is not, when will be the perfect time for me to do this program? Because the reality is that doesn't exist. We all know that. There's not a perfect season. There are always things going on from season to season in our personal lives, family lives, business lives, all of those things. But what I want you to do is consider what season you're in and going into it with an awareness and making a plan if you need to do that, okay? For example, are you going to be at the height of show season during this program? You're going to be away every weekend. You're going to be doing laundry, teaching during the week, not to mention raising a family. All of those things may be going on during the season that you're in, okay? So what I'm considering is, what season am I in right now? And does this program, can I make this program fit with them? Because the reality is, it's not just does it fit, it's can you make it fit, okay? So here's a real life example for you. I'm not just telling you this, I've lived it myself too. Almost 4 years ago was the first time I really made a large investment in myself and my business. And guess what? It's also the same time that I had a newborn baby who honestly was really struggling with acid reflux. We didn't know that's what it was at the time. So as you can imagine, she was crying a lot. I was having to comfort her a lot. I was the only one who could comfort her. And so that definitely changed the season I was in. However, I will tell you, I was able to still do this program, not because it was easy, but because I knew that it was a fit for me. Even in the midst of that crazy season, I knew what I had to do. And so I went into it with an awareness, like this is not going to be easy peasy. I'm going to have to set a schedule of some kind for myself to actually stick to the program and not be overwhelmed and not just back out of it. So I'm telling you this to say that's not the same for everybody, and not everybody needs to make that same decision. What I'm saying is, as you evaluate a coaching program, consider the season that you are in, and then if that is going to fit within your personal goals, which we'll talk about next. All right. So your next question, number 1, what season are you in? Number 2, is this program going to help you get closer to your goals? This is such an important question. I will tell you that when it comes to one-on-one coaching through Take the Reins, I only work with coaching clients who have a vision for where they're going. If you don't know the goal that you're moving towards, then you're not really ready to make a plan to get there, right? And in Take the Reins, that's what we do. We actually create a customized marketing plan to get you from, I'm not sure what to do, to I have a plan, but all the while, you know where you're going, you know where you're headed, and we're making a plan to help you get there, right? And if you don't know that, Take the Reins is not for you. You've got to know your goals. So you have to know your goals in order to answer this question. Is this going to help me get closer to my goals? Well, now that you have your goals in place, you need to ask yourself, is this the program that's going to help me out? Now, here's the deal. Everybody has different goals, and that's why there's so many different programs out there, right? So if your goal is to build an audience and an email list of people that are ready to buy, you're wanting to sell digital products, you have a membership, you're wanting to sell in-person program, then Take the Reins is for you. But if you're saying, actually, Denise, my goal right now is to get my horsemanship and lesson curriculum in place, or my goal right now is to further my education in terms of my body work and things like that, then Take the Reins right now is not the program that's going to help you meet that particular goal, right? But sometimes I know we can be tempted to buy a program just because we like somebody on a personal level, right? Or we followed them and so we want to buy it. But when it gets down to it, the reality is that's not the program that's going to help you meet the goals that you've already laid out, what you really have in mind, the vision you have for your business, okay? So your second question is so important. I want you to evaluate, does this program help you to actually meet the goals that you have for your equestrian business? All right, question number 3. Does this program align with my values and my personal approach to business? Again, such an important question that you may not have considered, right? But here's the reality. There are so many programs out there in the world of business and all other aspects, really, right? There's so many ways to reach that goal that you have, whatever that goal is that you've written down. So maybe you're saying, okay, I've narrowed it down. I've got these 3 or 4 programs that are options. They're all going to really help me meet this one particular goal I have in my business. So then how do you decide? Well, then you get to look at the approach. You get to look at the process. You get to look at the values of the person that's teaching that program or going to be leading you. And then you get to consider what is the right fit for you. Like I said, it's super normal to have these different options. That's the reason we have so many planners and calendars and marketing methods, all of those things, right? There's more than one way to get there. So I want you to really consider, as you are evaluating your program that you're considering jumping into, right? Then I want you to look at that aspect. Look at your personal approach to business and see if this fits. All right, I'm going to give you a real life example. Again, looking at Take the Reins. So inside of Take the Reins, what we do is I actually help you to create a plan and a strategy, clear marketing and messaging that then gets us into social media organically, which means I'm not coaching you on paid ads. I'm coaching you on how to organically connect with people online and do regular emails. So if you are saying, you know what, email marketing is absolutely not where I want to go. I just want to be hands off. I want to find somebody that I can pay to do ads for me, and that's all I want to do right now. Well, then obviously Take the Reins would not be a fit for you, right? Both of those methods could get you to the goals that you're moving towards. So you need to look at the approach for each one. You need to look at the values of each one as well, okay? So, for example, you're going to, like I said, look at who's teaching it. When I'm evaluating the program I told you that I'm considering for my own business, I am looking at who's teaching and what are their methods, what are their styles, how do they work, right? What tools and resources are they providing, and does that work with me and my method? There's one in particular that I'm looking at, and I have followed her and I've gotten her emails. I've listened to her podcast for over a year. Now, I've not made the choice to invest. I've actually not purchased anything from her yet, but I have been taking in her content, applying what I've been learning, and considering if her signature program is something that would be a good fit for me. Okay. But if I had been getting her emails and then I'm like, I just don't like the flavor of this, I don't really jive, we don't really have the same personal values, then I probably am going to be less prone to invest that amount of money into her business and into my business through her program. Okay. So this question of, does this align with me and my personal values and my approach to business, is super, super important. Okay. Obviously, I'm telling you that about each question, right? Okay. Question number four. Can I afford it? Of course, you knew that there would be a question related to money because we are business owners, and it is an important question to consider. Now, here's what I want you to know, okay? You do not have to have thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars sitting on the side just waiting all the time for continuing education in order to be able to afford a program. Now, is that wise to save for continuing education and earmark that money? Absolutely. But I also want you to remember that you are a business owner. So you can create offers that will specifically help you to meet that goal. If you're saying, okay, I wasn't planning on spending this money, but I think this is the one that's really going to help me move the needle. I can see how I'm going to get a return on my investment. So therefore, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to try to sell more. I'm going to try to book more. I'm going to hold a one-day clinic and I'm going to take the money from that and put it directly into continuing education. There are ways to help yourself to actually afford it, to really invest in yourself, to bet on yourself. But as a business owner, do you need to consider this question? Absolutely. You need to plan for it, okay? Now, as I've mentioned, my coaching program, it is specifically for equestrian entrepreneurs. Most often that means they are a 1 to 5, right? 1 to 5 person show. Okay. They're wearing many, many hats. And so they are really making a major investment in their business when they choose to do this. But they're doing it because they know what's on the other side. They know they're going to have a plan. They know that they're going to get their time back that they've been spending and wasting, frankly, trying to figure out marketing. And instead, they're going to have somebody to guide them on that process, right? Because here's what we know. And I know that you guys will attest to this when you think about your students and the people that are in your own programs. When somebody puts money down on the table, right, the higher their investment, oftentimes, the higher their accountability. Okay. That is why when you think about somebody who's saying, I'm going to do free, and then the people that show up for free, their level of investment, right, even their personal accountability is much lower. But then when you think about your pricing strategy and when you charge a higher price, oftentimes what happens is you get the person in the door that's actually committed. And they're the ones that get the results because they are committed. And it's going to be the same for you as you are considering your courses and coaching programs and retreats. If you only base your decision off of price, what's the lowest actual dollar price, and you're not considering everything else, then you need to also consider that when you pop $20 down versus 200 or 2,000, your personal investment level is also lower. Okay, so keep that in mind when you are considering, can I afford this program? Because it may be that you need to take a leap of faith. It may be that you need to bet on yourself and you need to do something creative. You need to build an offer specifically to bring in the income that you need for that program, because this is the key, right? So I want you to consider if you can afford it, but I want you to do it with that courageous mindset, okay? All right, 5th question. This is another one that often we just kind of jump over. We think about money. We think about time. But think about it in this aspect, okay? What is the cost if you don't join that program? In school, we've learned this. It's called opportunity cost, right? So I want you to consider what is at stake if you do not make this investment, okay? Again, I'm going to use Take the Reins as a real life example because that is the one that I'm working through with clients all the time and potential clients, right? And so we talk about what's at stake if you don't make this decision, if you don't get this one-on-one coaching that in 3 months is going to give you a plan that you can implement on your own. Well, let's think about demand. You may be saying, Denise, I've got demand for my products and my lessons and my business right now, but what about what's past that, okay? When you don't have that demand, when you have a little bit of a lull in your business, what's at stake here is if you don't have an email list, then you don't have people to directly reach out to. If you haven't built a social media following of people who are your right people, then you don't have that to reach out to, right? You don't have a, almost call it a bank of business, but really you don't have a community of people to reach out to, okay? So consider that. Now, what else is at stake? Let's just talk about the finances, okay? Let's talk about the finances. Number one, obviously, the money you could be missing out on and bringing people into the fold, booking those lessons, selling those digital courses, whatever it is you're trying to do. But what about also the financial cost, right? So when you think about a website, if you're going to hire someone to do your website, you're going to pay between $3,000 to $6,000, depending on, the depth of the overhaul. And most likely, they're going to have you write your own copy. Most designers, I don't do that. That is one thing that's unique that I do with my website services is I'm writing your copy and designing it because it's that important. But oftentimes they're doing the design and they're just sending you a Word document saying, answer these questions, we'll turn that into the website, right? And so what happens is you don't have copy that connects or converts your online audience into your customers, and you don't have a journey that you're guiding people through. You have a designed site, but is it really helping you to meet your goals? You don't know because you haven't taken time to clarify your messaging and your marketing, and you've spent $3,000 to $6,000 without the clarity that you need to really have a website that works for you, that helps you to build your audience, that builds your email list intentionally, and then has a way to serve them through your email marketing. What about social media, right? If you jump into social and you're saying, Denise, I'm just ready to hire somebody, I'll just pay for that, then here's your opportunity cost, right? And it's a real hard financial cost. You could pay up to $6,000. So I did the math. If you look at just $300 a month to $700 or $800 a month for someone to do your social media. I've looked, I know that is the average depending on the level of engagement you're asking for, the content they're creating for you. Anywhere to $300 to $700 a month over the course of 12 months, just imagine. That is, again, $6,000 for the year. And do you have a return on that? Possibly. But if you go into it without clear messaging, without a clear idea of who your audience is and the content that you want them to create, then you're going to continue to spend that $6,000 every year, but you're not going to have a lot of clarity around if that's actually helping you to meet your goals and connect with the right people. Whereas if you invest in the coaching, then at the end of 3 months, you've got clarity on your messaging. You've got clarity on who you're talking to. You've got clarity on what days of the week you are going to post, what's going to go in that post, and how it's going to guide them through the buyer's journey. All of those things happen inside of that one-to-one coaching container. And so again, going back to this question, why I'm telling you this is because I want you to consider what is the cost if you don't join that particular program that you're looking at, that coaching program, that course, that retreat. What's the cost if you don't go? And that needs to be a part of your decision making as well. Okay. All right, friends, I have given you 5 really important questions that I want you to consider as you are looking at applying for coaching. Perhaps you've been considering Take the Reins and you're saying, Denise, this is timely because Take the Reins, I've wondered if it was a right fit for me, but I was having a hard time really figuring that out. Then I want you to take these 5 questions and I want you to ask yourself them, okay? Now, obviously, you may need more information about the program to really make that decision. And so I invite you to go to stormlily.com/reins to get all the details there about the program. But I want to remind you of this, okay? As you ask yourself these 5 questions around investing in courses and coaching and retreats, I want you to remember that investing in yourself is a courageous decision. I applaud you for that because I know that it can be a big one and it can be an intimidating one. And that's why I wanted to break this down for you so that you can see there are some very clear ways that you can wrap your mind around this and make a wise decision for you and for your business. Again, whether it's right now with Take the Reins or there's another program that you're considering. Now, if this is your first time hearing about Take the Reins and you're saying, Denise, I am an equestrian entrepreneur. I do have a fire in my belly. I have a vision. I have a goal, but I have no idea how to do the marketing part of things. Then Take the Reins may be the program for you. And again, you can head to stormlily.com/reins to get that information. Now, this is truly a one-on-one coaching program. It is not a course with pre-recorded curriculum or anything like that. You and I are on Zoom calls together. I am working with you specifically, asking you specific questions to help you to get clarity around your marketing and around your audience and what we're moving towards so that we can then make a plan for your website, for your social media, and for your email marketing, okay? So that you come out of that 3 months with truly a plan that tells you exactly what to do so that you can implement it on your own. You're not having to outsource. And then when you get to the point and you're ready to outsource, then you can tell them, look, this is who I want to reach. This is my plan to get there. I need you to create these things, okay? So if that sounds like it would be a fit for you, I would invite you to apply. 2024 is just around the corner and Q4 just started, right? We are in the fourth quarter of 2023. And so I would love to help you get that plan in place and get you ready, equipped, and prepared for what is just around the corner in 2024. Again, take these questions, ask them yourself. And if you have questions for me about how to make these decisions or questions for me about Take the Reins, please leave them in the comments or send me a message. I would be happy to talk to you. And I look forward to checking out your application. If you've been considering Take the Reins, if you've been on the fence, I want you to take these questions, consider them. And if you're saying, yep, I think it's a go ahead, then meet me in your application. We will check out together on Zoom and chat about your goals in your business and see if it's a right fit. Okay? All right, friends, have an amazing day. Thanks for joining me here today.